Beach boy Brian Wilson has died, aged 82. He heard harmonies where others heard noise, melodies in waves, rhythms in the wind. Brian Wilson didn't just write songs, he sculpted soundscapes that captured the soul of an era. If you like topical stories about the world of rock, folk, and pop music, hit that subscribe button.
And we'll figure out what we need to know.
Brian Wilson was born on June 20th, 1942, in Hawthorne, California. The oldest of three brothers, Brian grew up in a modest home filled with music and tension. His father, Murray Wilson, was a frustrated songwriter and a domineering presence. It was from him that Brian inherited both his musical spark and his emotional scars. By his teens, Brian showed signs of extraordinary musical intuition. He could analyze the harmonies of his favorite vocal group, Four Freshmen, by ear and recreate them with ease. He studied the structure of songs obsessively, blending rock and roll with intricate vocal arrangements. In 1961, Brian, his brothers Carl and Dennis, cousin Mike Love, and friend Al Jardine formed the Beach Boys. Surf music was already catching fire in California, but the Beach Boys took it nationwide. Brian's songwriting and production gave them a sound unlike any other, sun-drenched harmonies and teenage dreams of cars, girls, and the beach. But fame came with pressure. As the band's star rose, Brian's mental health began to crack. In 1964, at the height of their success, he stopped touring, retreating to the studio, a place where he could control everything. In 1966, Brian created what many consider his masterpiece, Pet Sounds. Deeply personal, orchestrally rich, and emotionally raw, it stunned both critics and fans. Paul McCartney would later call it his favorite album of all time. But the triumph of Pet Sounds was followed by heartbreak. Brian's next project, Smile, was meant to be his magnum opus. But the pressure to outdo himself, mounting drug use, and his worsening mental health turned the process into a spiral. The album was shelved, incomplete. Brian faded into isolation. The 1970s were a dark period. Brian became a recluse, his brilliance buried beneath paranoia, obesity, and manipulation by those around him. Most notoriously, Dr. Eugene Landy, a therapist who exerted near total control over Brian's life. Yet even in his lowest moments, Brian never fully stopped creating. With time, legal battles, and support from his bandmates and new allies, Brian began to reclaim his life. In the 1990s, he returned to the stage. In 2004, nearly 40 years after it began, Smile was finally finished and released, this time as a Brian Wilson solo record. The world heard what had once been locked inside his mind, fully realized. Brian died on the 11th of June, 2025. His journey was not just about music. It was about resilience, about finding light in the darkest corners of the mind. From Surfer Girl to God Only Knows, from silence to a second act, Brian Wilson's life reminded us that genius often walks hand in hand with pain, but also that beauty can emerge from both. What are your favorite Beach Boys songs? Let us know in the comments below. And if you like topical stories about the world of rock, folk, and pop music, hit that subscribe button.
The things you think you'd like to know are the same old things I need to know. You and I are good as gold, and we'll figure out what we need to know.